The notification pops up on my phone while I'm getting my nails done. Sasha is now head of marketing at TechFlow Industries. I nearly dropped my phone into the UV lamp. My ex-boyfriend Jerome just became head of marketing at one of the biggest tech companies in Memphis. The same Jerome I destroyed 5 years ago with my paranoia and lies. I scroll through his LinkedIn with my free hand. There he is in a tailored suit, confident smile, standing in front of floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. The bio mentions his programming boot camp for underprivileged youth, his volunteer work, his upcoming TED Talk about resilience in tech. My nail tech asks if I'm okay. I realize I've been holding my breath. Just saw something unexpected, I mumble, closing the app. But I can't stop thinking about it as she paints my nails the same shade of red I wore the night I came home at 6 a.m. and destroyed everything. My name is Sasha. I'm 33 now, working as a receptionist at a dental office in Little Rock, living with my parents and my 5-year-old son whose father disappeared before he was even born. This isn't the life I planned when I was 25 and dating Jerome, when I still believed I deserved better than a man working double shifts while learning to code. The dental office pays $11 an hour. Dr. Patel reminds me of that whenever I ask about a raise, like he's doing me a favor by employing a single mother with an unfinished degree. I spend 8 hours a day smiling at people who have dental insurance, who complain about $20 co-pays while I haven't been to a dentist in 3 years. But I'm getting ahead of the story. Let me tell you how I destroyed the best thing that ever happened to me because I couldn't wait for success to arrive on schedule. I met Jerome through mutual friends at a barbecue in 2015. He was 27, working at a warehouse during the day and studying programming at night. Not exactly the successful man I'd pictured myself with, but there was something about him. The way he talked about his future with absolute certainty, like success was just a matter of time. The way he looked at me like I was already part of that future. "You're going to be somebody," I told him on our 3rd date. "We're going to be somebody," he corrected, reaching for my hand across the table at Waffle House, the only place he could afford then. For 3 years I believed it. Watched him come home exhausted from loading trucks, then stay up until 3 a.m. practicing code. Listened to him explain algorithms I didn't understand. Pretended to be supportive when he spent our date money on programming courses. But by the time I turned 25, my patience was wearing thin. My college friends were getting engaged to lawyers and doctors, posting photos from Cancun and Cabo. Meanwhile, I was splitting rent on a 1-bedroom apartment in South Haven, Mississippi, watching my biological clock tick, while Jerome promised just 1 more year. "We should think about kids soon," I told him one night. "I want to have them before 30. He looked up from his laptop, eyes bloodshot from hours of code. "Sasha, I'm so close to landing a real job. Can we just wait until I'm making decent money?" "When will that be? Another year, 2, 5? "Soon," he promised, the same thing he'd been saying for years. "Soon doesn't pay rent," I snapped. "Soon doesn't buy a house or pay for daycare or give me the life I deserve." He closed his laptop slowly, that careful way he had when he was trying not to argue. "What life do you deserve, Sasha?" "More than this." I gestured around our cramped apartment with its second-hand furniture and walls so thin we could hear our neighbors fighting. "My cousin Keisha just bought a house in Germantown. A house, Jerome, she's younger than me." "Her husband sells drugs," Jerome said quietly. "He owns a logistics company," I corrected, even though we both knew what kind of logistics. "Is that what you want? A man with fast money and a target on his back?" "I want a man who can provide." "Who doesn't make me wait for everything?" He stood up then, all 6'2" of him, and for a moment I saw what he'd be like when success finally found him. Powerful, commanding, but then his shoulders sagged. "I'm trying, baby." "I'm doing everything I can." "Try harder," I said, the words tasting bitter even as I spoke them. That's when I met Taylor at my internship. She was everything I wasn't. confident, independent, making her own money as a marketing consultant, openly bisexual, which, to sheltered little me, felt impossibly sophisticated. She wore designer clothes and drove a BMW and talked about her ex-girlfriends and ex-boyfriends like they were conquests. The first time we went to lunch, she ordered a $40 salad without checking the price. I got soup and said I wasn't that hungry. The truth was, I only had $20 in my account until payday. "You're too pretty for this life," she said, watching me count out exact change. "Why are you struggling with some warehouse worker when you could have anyone?" "Jerome's not just a warehouse worker. He's learning programming. He's going to, she interrupted. "What about right now? What about your youth? You think your skin's going to look like that forever? You think men are going to want you when you're 30 with stretch marks and eye bags? Why are you wasting your youth on someone who can't even take you to a nice restaurant?" she asked during one of our lunch breaks. "He's going to be successful. He just needs time," she laughed. "Honey, men always need time. Meanwhile, you're giving him your best years for free." I started going out with Taylor and her friends. "Just girls' nights," I told Jerome. He never complained, even bought me a new dress for one night out because he wanted me to have fun, to not feel left out among my flashier friends. That dress was what I wore the night everything changed. It was a Thursday in October. Taylor had VIP passes to a new downtown club. Her ex-boyfriend was the manager. I told Jerome I'd be home by midnight, kissed him goodbye while he worked on a project that could finally get him hired somewhere real. "Have fun, baby," he said, not even looking up. "Text me when you get there safe." "You're not even going to look at me?" I asked, doing a little spin. The dress was short, red, nothing like the conservative clothes I usually wore. He glanced up and his eyes widened. "Damn, Sasha. You look..." He stood up, came over to me. "Maybe you should stay home." "Why?" I challenged. "You don't trust me." "I trust you. I don't trust everybody else." He pulled me close, and for a moment I almost canceled. Almost stayed home with this man who loved me, who was building our future one line of code at a time. But then my phone buzzed. "Taylor, car's here. Don't make me go alone." "I have to go," I said, pulling away. "It's just drinks with the girls." "Okay." He kissed my forehead. "Be safe. Love you." Those were the last words he said to me before I destroyed us. The club was everything my life wasn't. Bottle service, beautiful people, music so loud it drowned out thinking. Taylor introduced me to her ex, Dante, who looked like he'd stepped out of a magazine. When he asked if I was single, Taylor laughed and said, "Might as well be." I should have gone home then. Instead, I let Dante buy me drinks. Let him pull me onto the VIP dance floor. Let him kiss me in the back of his Mercedes at 3 a.m., while Taylor made out with some girl in the front seat. When I finally got home at 6 a.m., Jerome was asleep on the couch, laptop still open, my photo as his screensaver. He'd waited up for me. "Where were you?" he asked, voice thick with sleep and worry. "I called 20 times. My phone died," I lied. "I slept in my car because I was too drunk to drive." The lie came so easily it scared me. I still smelled like Dante's cologne, still had his number saved under pizza delivery in my phone. My underwear was in my purse because I'd put them on wrong in his car. Jerome studied my face, and I saw the exact moment he chose to believe me. The trust in his eyes made me sick. "I'm just glad you're safe." He stood up, stretched. "Come on, let's get you to bed." "I need to shower first," I said quickly. Too quickly. "Okay." If he noticed my panic, he didn't say anything. Just kissed my cheek and went to warm up the bed. I stood in that shower for 40 minutes, scrubbing until my skin was raw, watching another woman's lipstick wash down the drain. Taylor had kissed me too, in the bathroom, laughing about how uptight I was. "Live a little," she'd said. "Your man's too busy with his computer to notice anyway." But he had noticed. He'd called 20 times. The guilt should have eaten me alive. Instead, it transformed into something else. Anger at him for making me feel guilty, for being so trusting, for not being successful enough that I wouldn't have been tempted by men like Dante. I started picking fights about everything. Accused him of looking at other women, of watching porn, of fantasizing about his study group partners. Classic projection, but I couldn't stop myself. Every time he worked late on code, I accused him of cheating. Every female name in his phone became a potential threat. "Who's Sandra?" I demanded one night, scrolling through his contacts. "She's in my JavaScript study group. She's 53 and has grandkids." "Why is she texting you at 9 p.m.? He showed me the message. "Question 6 on the practice exam is kicking my butt." "Did you figure out the recursive function?" "That's code for something," I insisted. "Yes, it's literally code. Programming code, the thing I'm studying." "Don't get smart with me." "Sasha, what's really going on?" "You've been like this for weeks. Did I do something?" "Yes," I wanted to scream. "You trusted me. You loved me. You made me feel guilty for being the piece of shit I am." Instead, I said, "Maybe if you paid attention to me instead of that computer, you'd know what's wrong." He closed his laptop, gave me his full attention. "Talk to me. Whatever it is, we can work through it." But we couldn't work through me being a cheater and a liar. So I just cried and let him hold me, let him promise to do better, let him take the blame for my guilt. "You're being crazy," he said during one of our fights. "When would I even have time to cheat? I'm either at work or studying." "That's what they all say," I spat back, thinking of my own lies. The worst part? How hard he tried to prove his innocence. He'd show me his phone, his emails, his location history. Started coming straight home from work, skipping study groups to spend time with me. Even planned this elaborate Valentine's Day surprise with rose petals and champagne at a hotel we couldn't afford, just because I'd posted about wanting romance on Instagram. I ruined that too, accused him of buying his mom and sister Valentine's gifts, because clearly he was sleeping with someone else. He showed me the hotel reservation, and I felt nothing but irritation that he'd ruined his own surprise. Meanwhile, I was texting Dante whenever Jerome was at work, meeting him for lunch, for coffee, for quickies in his car. Taylor covered for me, creating elaborate alibis. The lying became addictive. I felt powerful, desired, like I was finally living the life I deserved. "Where are you taking me today?" I'd text Dante from the dental office bathroom. "Wherever you want, baby. Sky's the limit?" And it was. $100 lunches at restaurants Jerome had bookmarked for some day. Shopping trips where Dante would peel off bills like they were nothing. Hotel rooms in the middle of the day because his car wasn't classy enough for what he wanted to do to me. "Your man know you're here?" he asked once, watching me fix my makeup in a Marriott mirror. "What he doesn't know won't hurt him." "Cold-blooded." He laughed, slapping my ass. "I like that about you." No emotional female bullshit. I preened at what I thought was a compliment. Now I realize he was telling me exactly what he thought of me. A woman with no loyalty, no emotional value beyond physical pleasure. Jerome landed his first programming job that February, making more money than he'd ever seen. Bought me flowers to celebrate. Talked about finally being able to afford the wedding I wanted, the kids I wanted, the life I'd been waiting for. "We made it, baby," he said, spinning me around our tiny kitchen. "All that waiting was worth it, right?" I felt nothing but contempt. Too little, too late. Dante had already shown me what I was missing. Trips to Atlanta, expensive dinners, the kind of life Jerome would need years to afford. So I broke up with him. Told him I couldn't trust him, that his constant lying and fantasizing about other women had killed my feelings. The look on his face, confusion, hurt, desperation, should have stopped me. Instead, I twisted the knife. "We can still be friends," I said, like I was doing him a favor. A week later, I posted on Facebook about finding true love with Dante. Posted photos of us at restaurants Jerome could never afford, tagged locations he'd promised to take me someday. My friends liked and commented, congratulating me on my upgrade. My cousin Keisha commented, "About time you leveled up, girl. That's what a real man looks like." My aunt wrote, "So happy you found someone who can provide." Even my own mother liked the post, though she called me later. "That Jerome was a nice boy," she said carefully. "Nice doesn't pay bills, Mama." "Neither does flash without substance," she warned. "All that glitters isn't gold, I know." I cut her off. "But Dante has a condo in Buckhead. He drives a BMW. He can actually take care of me." Can he? Or does he just know how to look like he can? I hung up on her. My own mother couldn't be happy for me. Nobody could understand that I deserved more than waiting for potential to become reality. Jerome deleted his social media the next week, but not before posting one thing: focusing on myself and my future. If you want to stay in touch, message me directly. I laughed at it then. Poor Jerome couldn't handle seeing me happy. Dante proposed 3 months later. I quit my internship, moved to Atlanta with him, posted constantly about my blessed life with my perfect man. Got pregnant almost immediately. Sure, I was living my dream. Then I found out about Dante's other girlfriends, plural. The apartment in Buckhead wasn't his. It was a corporate rental his company paid for. The BMW was leased under his business. The expensive dinners were written off as client entertainment, and I wasn't the only woman he was entertaining. When I confronted him, he laughed. Actually laughed. "You knew what this was," he said. "You left your man for me after one night. Why would I wife someone who'd do that?" I was 7 months pregnant when he ghosted me completely. Changed his number, moved out of the apartment, blocked me on everything. Left me with nothing but stretch marks and shame. I moved back to Mississippi, back to my parents' house, back to the life I'd tried so hard to escape. Had my son in the same hospital where Jerome's mom worked as a nurse. She pretended not to recognize me, but I saw the pity in her eyes. Working minimum wage with a baby is exactly as hard as you'd imagine. No degree because I quit my internship. No references because I burned bridges. No support because Dante turned out to be married the whole time, and his wife's lawyer sent me a cease and desist letter. The letter arrived at my parents' house 2 weeks after my son was born. I was still bleeding, still crying every time he latched wrong, still expecting Dante to show up and at least see his child. "Mrs. Washington has been made aware of your relationship with her husband," the letter read. "Any further contact will be considered harassment and dealt with accordingly. Mrs. Washington." He had a wife. A whole wife with a law degree and the kind of lawyers who use letterhead that costs more than my weekly paycheck. "I told you," my mother said, rocking my screaming baby while I sobbed on the couch. "All that glitters. Don't, Mama. Please don't." "What you going to do now? How you going to raise this baby?" "I'll figure it out." But I didn't figure it out. I just survived day by day, minimum wage job by minimum wage job. Wendy's, Walmart, now the dental office. Each job a little better than the last, but never enough to live on my own. I dated a few guys over the years. Marcus seemed promising until his bipolar disorder spiraled and he tried to hurt himself in front of my son. Terrell talked a big game but couldn't hold a job. Dwayne is currently in rehab, swearing this time will be different. My son asks about his dad sometimes. I tell him Daddy is sick, which is easier than explaining Daddy doesn't acknowledge his existence. Jerome's success feels like a personal insult. Every achievement, the job promotions, the technical conferences, the nonprofit he started, is a reminder of what I threw away. He didn't just move on, he became everything he promised he would be. I've drafted 100 messages to him, apologies, explanations, congratulations that are really attempts to reconnect. I never send them. What would I say? "Sorry I cheated on you and gaslit you about it, but hey, want to raise another man's kid?" Taylor and I don't talk anymore. She's married to a woman now, posts about their sustainable farm in Vermont. Sometimes I wonder if she ever thinks about that night, if she knows she helped destroy the best thing in my life. My therapist, when I could afford one, said I have issues with delayed gratification, that I sabotaged my relationship with Jerome because I couldn't wait for the future he was building, that the accusations were projection, the cheating was self-destruction, the breakup was fear of being vulnerable with someone who actually loved me. "Do you think he ever knew?" she asked once. "No," I said, "but I wonder. Jerome was always smarter than I gave him credit for. Maybe he knew and loved me anyway. Maybe that's why he tried so hard to prove his innocence. Not because he was guilty, but because he knew I was." I see his mom sometimes at Kroger. She's always polite but distant, asks about my son, mentions Jerome is doing well without giving details. Last time she paused by the frozen foods and said, "He would have married you, you know. Had the ring picked out and everything." "When?" The word came out strangled. "The February before you left him." He showed it to me. 3 months of pay saved up. Had it custom designed with little stars because you always talked about loving astronomy. She shifted her cart. "I tried to tell him to wait, that y'all were too young. But he said he couldn't imagine life without you. Mrs. Williams, he's happy now," she cut me off. "Has a good woman who appreciates him." "They're expecting their first baby." She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "A little girl. They're going to name her Celeste. You know, like the stars. Like the stars I used to point out to Jerome on our broke people dates, lying on a blanket in Tom Lee Park, dreaming about our future. Like the star tattoo I have on my wrist that I got with money I should have saved just 2 weeks before I cheated on him." That's beautiful," I managed. "Yes," she agreed. "It is." She walked away, leaving me standing there with frozen peas melting in my hands, crying in the middle of the grocery store while other shoppers pretended not to notice. The nail tech finishes my manicure. $50 I can't really afford, but I needed something to feel pretty, to feel like the woman who once had choices. I pay with my credit card, already near its limit, and drive back to my parents' house. My son is playing in the front yard, wearing hand-me-downs from my cousin's kids. He has Dante's eyes, but my smile, my determination. He deserves better than this life. Better than a mother who makes terrible choices, and a father who pretends he doesn't exist. "Mommy, look!" He shows me a bug he caught. "Isn't it cool?" "Very cool, baby." "Can we go to McDonald's?" I check my wallet. $12 until payday. "Maybe tomorrow." He doesn't complain, just goes back to playing. He's learned not to ask for much. Inside, I pull up Jerome's LinkedIn again. There's a recent post about their company's scholarship program for single parents learning tech. My throat tightens as I read his quote. "Everyone deserves a second chance to build the life they want." I wonder if he ever thinks about me, if he tells his new girlfriend, probably some successful woman who appreciated him from the start, about the ex who accused him of cheating while sleeping with another man. I hope he doesn't. I hope I'm just a footnote in his success story, a lesson learned on the way to better things. My mom calls me for dinner, spaghetti again, the kind from a can. I help set the table in the same dining room where I once dreamed of bigger things, better men, faster success. The irony isn't lost on me. I got exactly what I thought I wanted with Dante, and it destroyed my life. My phone buzzes. A text from Dwayne's rehab facility, the guy I was dating last year. He's checked himself out early again. I delete the message and help my son wash his hands for dinner. Tomorrow I'll look for a second job, maybe something in the evenings after he's asleep. I'll save up for community college classes, try to finish what I started 8 years ago. I'll be the mother my son deserves, even if it's too late to be the woman Jerome deserved. But tonight, I sit at my parents' table, eating spaghetti from a can, pretending I don't see the disappointment in their eyes. Pretending I don't think about Jerome in his Memphis high-rise, living the life we were supposed to build together. pretending I'm not exactly where I deserve to be. Broke, alone, paying for choices I made when I was too young and stupid to value love over lifestyle. The worst part isn't the poverty or the loneliness or the single motherhood. It's knowing that somewhere out there, Jerome is probably happy, genuinely, deservedly happy with someone who saw his potential and had the patience to wait for it. Someone who didn't need Taylor or Dante or VIP sections to feel valuable. Someone who wasn't me. My son asks why I'm crying. I tell him it's just onions, even though there aren't any in the sauce. He pats my hand with his sticky fingers, and I realize this is it. This is my life now. The consequence of needing everything right now instead of waiting for something real. Jerome was right about one thing, though. We did become somebody. He became successful, respected, the man he always promised to be. And I became a cautionary tale about what happens when you have everything and throw it away for nothing. The red nail polish chips the next day. I can't afford to get it fixed.